Hey guys. So I've been taking it easy the last few days and trying to help my Achilles tendons recover. And I haven't been walking at all. I'm just sort of taking it easy and letting them sort of recover. And my knees as well. I was having a problem with my left knee. I think when my back went out, I was coming down too hard on my knee because, my hip was sort of not working properly. So anyway, I'm giving some thought to heading back to Idlewild and continuing the hike, and I'm going to break it down into sections because I think a through hike is sort of off the table for me. The miles that I'm able to walk without being miserable are not going to get me to Canada before October 1st. So I would rather try to do it in a way that I actually enjoy the hike. And so I'm just sort of thinking about it in smaller sections. So the next section is going to be basically Idlewild to, let's say, Big Bear. And I think that's something like, I Googled it and I just real quick, I think it's about 70 or 80 miles. So that's a section, probably a week to 10 days if maybe 10 days if I take it slow and easy, which I probably will because I think it's a pretty steep climb heading up to Mount San Jacinto, and then a steep decline on the backside, and then a stretch of desert, and then another climb to Big Bear. So I'll probably be taking it slow, and it's going to depend on the water carries. But I've gone through my pack and sort of. And I'm also, because I'm only looking, here's the advantage of looking at this in smaller sections. So I'm just looking at Idlewild to Big Bear, and again, I think it's like 70 to 80 miles. And if I do 10 miles a day, it's about a week, maybe 10 days, if I take it real slow. And because of that, I can look at the 2-week weather forecast and see that although there's some rain expected tonight and maybe tomorrow, it's pretty warm, and so they're not expecting any snow up in the mountains. They're expecting rain, which is only going to further wash away any snow that was left there, and it should be pretty clear. And then later in the week, it's just like 0% chance of rain for the foreseeable future. So I can look at that and see that it's probably going to be above 40 degrees Fahrenheit at night, which means I can bring the lighter sleeping bag, the quilt, and it's also going to be not too hot during the day, so the water carries shouldn't be too difficult. You can sort of plan those things on a 2-week basis, where it's a little more difficult if you're thinking about being out there for months at a time, where you have to plan for all the eventualities. So I'm just planning this next stretch, which could go to Big Bear if I don't break down before that. It is going to be a tough section. If I'm feeling good for some reason, if the trail gods are with me and I'm feeling good, I might continue on to Wrightwood, and that would be probably the stopping point there. And then I would come home, rest up a little bit, and then start to calculate the next section. So that's the plan. I think as I recall, Big Bear's like 70 to 80 miles, and then Wrightwood is another 70 or 80 miles or something. So it would be another 150 miles or so, which is roughly what I've already done over the first 2 weeks. So it's just another couple of week section. I can look out at the 10-day forecast and see that it's really 0% chance of rain. So I probably won't bring a rain jacket because I didn't wear it the first time. I just had it in my bag, and it's only 7 ounces or so, but it's 7 ounces that I can get rid of. So I'll do that. And then I'm also going to show you what I've decided on for my core items for the pack, just to get the weight down. And also to keep my back in shape, because I think I need the lumbar support. So I'm going to stick with my Osprey Exos pack. So I'll go through those items here real quick and show you what I've got. I've got a new sleeping pad that I'm going to try, and I think I'll be a lot happier with that. So let's get into that. I'll show you what the core 4 are. So the first one is obviously the backpack. That's the Osprey Exos, the one I started the trip with down at the border. And I had switched to a Hyperlight pack that I got in Julian. and just really didn't like it. I know people love it, so I don't want to start, shooting it down or anything, because I know there is a good reason to carry an ultralight pack, something that weighs 1 to 2 pounds. It gets a pound out of your pack, and but you do give up a bit of framing. Again, I always say it's just physics. You give up materials to achieve less weight. There's no other way to look at it. So the Osprey Exos just has a better frame. It has this nice mesh backing. It conforms to the back. It goes all the way down. So it really molds to my back. The belt is, I initially thought this was going to be sort of a flimsy belt, but it really feels more like one of those neoprene back support belts. It really conforms to the curves of your hips, and it gives that extra support at the lumbar area of your back, and the mesh net part of the frame just really conforms to your back and gives you a lot of ventilation, which keeps you cool. So when the sweat evaporates, you cool yourself, and that's what this does for you. So I found that I was much cooler wearing this than I was wearing the Hyperlight, even though the Hyperlight was a pound less. I'd rather carry an extra pound and have that better ventilation, and also to have the weight locked into my hips rather than sharing the weight between my hips and shoulders. So sticking with this, and I was much happier when I was carrying that. So that's the pack. Next item on the list is the tent that I was actually very happy with. I may get, I've got I ordered some slightly longer tent stakes, but I may go with, they had some titanium, I think they're called shepherd's hooks. They're just real thin titanium ones, and I might try those. They're a few ounces less, and I think they might be easier to get in the ground and pull out of the ground. I'm not sure if they're going to hold as well, but I'll give it a shot, because what I was doing was when the ground was too hard to get the stakes in, I just tied those the little cords to a rock and secured it that way, and it worked just fine. But this tent works great. It takes only 3 stakes to get the main body of the tent to stay up, and then 2 more to get the rainfly out. And I found that I was actually able to put stake the rainfly out while still sitting inside the tent. I could just lean out from inside the tent and shove a stake in the ground and get the rainfly staked out. So it's just a really easy tent to put up and take down, and it made the amount of time I was spending setting up camp and breaking down camp to be a lot less. So the rainfly is attached, so you can actually put it up if it was raining, which it won't be. You could put it up with the rainfly completely intact, and then just throw your stuff inside while you're putting it up, and keep everything dry that way. So anyway, going to stick with this. This is the 6 Moon Trekker, 6 Moon Skyscape Trekker tent, and I liked using that. So next item on the list is let's do the sleeping quilt. Since it's going to be warmer, I looked at the weather forecast. It's going to be up in the 40s at night, at least before I get to Big Bear. I think by the time I get to Big Bear, it might be a bit warmer, because it'll be a couple weeks later. Big Bear can get down into the 20s. I think there was one night in the next week where it was forecasted to get below 30. And then it'll probably be in the 30s at night. So it will get a little bit chilly, possibly, but in a couple of weeks it may be slightly warmer. I'll have to take a look. This is the original quilt I got on Amazon. This is supposedly an 18-degree quilt with a comfort rating of 28. I found that it was more likely a 38 comfort rating and maybe a 28 low value, but if it's only going to be in the 40s for most of the time I'm going to be out there, then this will be fine. I found it was very comfortable down to about 40 degrees, and then it got a little chilly. But I'll have I'm going to bring my Patagonia thermals and my down hoodie jacket, and then I'll throw, just in case, one of these little emergency blankets in there into the pack, just in case for some reason I get super cold and I need some other layer. On the nights where it got down towards the low 30s with this quilt in the first couple of weeks, I was putting on every piece of clothing I had just to stay warm. So anyway, that's how we're going to do that. And so I'll go with this quilt because it's about 10 ounces lighter than the heavier bag that I have that I got in Julian. I liked that bag, but it is heavier, and I don't know that I need to be that warm. So we'll try this other one. The new item is the new sleeping pad. So this is the Thermarest Z Lite, and this is the sole, which is one of their, it's 10 ounces is what it said. And it's a little bit shorter. It's, I believe it's like 5 feet long. I'm 6 feet tall, but, I think it'll be fine. It's fairly thin. I think it's got an R value of 2, but it's very comfortable. It's not as cushioned, obviously, as any inflatable pad, but I just found that I have a lot of trouble sleeping on inflatables. They're just too bouncy. Besides being what I call squirrely and wanting to migrate all over the tent, it's the bounciness that keeps me awake. I feel like I can't quite get to sleep because it feels precarious. I'm perched on this balloon of a sleeping pad, and my brain won't turn that off. So I need a solid foundation under me. I'm the same way at home. I often sleep on the floor because a mattress is just too soft. There's when I go to Asia, they make really nice mattresses in Asia. They're basically like sleeping on the floor. They're just hard and firm, and they have just a little bit of padding on them, and it just feels like a solid foundation under you. It doesn't move at all, but you can't really find them here in the U.S. I don't know why. We have all these pillow top mattresses, and I can't sleep on those. So I often just sleep on the floor, but this will be the next closest thing. And it's got all these little pockets to trap air, and it's got the silver stuff just like the emergency blanket does. So you put this silver side up, apparently, and that reflects your body heat back. So I'm going to try this out. And like I said, if I do get cold for some reason because of this lower R value, I'll put the emergency blanket maybe over that. The emergency blanket sort of reflects heat back as long as you've got an air gap, some kind of air gap, which this does. These little holes sort of trap air. And I don't know. My thought was if I throw this over the top of it, maybe it adds a 1 R value or something. But I'll have these just in case, So anyway, that's the core 4 items, and I think the weight is coming up to about 7.5 pounds on those. And then what I've decided is I'm going to try. I hiked in shorts during the first section there, the first 2 weeks, and my legs got pretty scratched up on all those stickery bushes. I did not fall in any cactuses. I didn't get any poison oak or any stuff like that. But the shrubs along the Southern California desert-like sections are quite scratchy, and I ended up with quite a few scratches on my legs. So I'm going to wear pants, at least as long as they're comfortable. I don't normally hike in pants because I find them more restrictive, and I find that I hike more easily in shorts. Just it's more freedom of movement, I guess. So, but if I wear the pants, then that means they're not in the backpack. So that saves about 10 ounces on the pants that I'm looking at bringing. Which ones? These are a pair that I picked up. They're not very heavy. They're only about 10 ounces, but they're stretchy. So they're a little bit easier to hike in because the fabric is very lightweight. It's sort of a lightweight nylon. It has zipper pockets, but it's a stretchier fabric, so it's easier to hike in. So I'm going to try to hike in these and see if I can do it. I don't normally do it. I normally hike in running shorts, which is nice, but I'll try that. It'll get them out of the pack and lighten the pack just a little bit. So that's one thing. The other thing I'm going to be bringing is the Patagonia thermals that'll help keep me warm at night with the with the thinner sleeping pad. And then last thing is my down puffy that has a hood on it. So even the quilt does not have a hood of any kind. So I put the puffy on to pull it up over my head and stay warm. So with the forecast being nighttime temperatures in Idlewild of anywhere from low 40s to mid 40s, that should be more than enough. And then the only one that I would be at all concerned about is in Big Bear. But there are stores in Big Bear. If I needed something to keep warm, I can pick something up there. So I'm not too worried about that. So that's the plan. I'm going to see how I feel here in a couple of days and make sure that I'm feeling up to it. And then I'll head back out to Palm Springs and get a ride over the hill into Idlewild and give it another shot. So yeah, the core 4 items, I'm looking at about 7.5 pounds. On my spreadsheet, it says 7.2. But give or take an ounce or two. So call that 7.5. And if I wear the pants instead of packing them in the backpack, then I've got about 2.5 pounds of remaining items for my essentially my clothing items, and then I'm going to go through the miscellaneous items, and those normally would be about 10 pounds. That includes food and water, average amounts of food and water, and then all those little knick-knack items like nail clippers. But if I'm only going to be gone for a couple of weeks, I'm going to remove those nail clippers. I'll deal with stuff like that at home, and then I'll leave them out of the pack. And so it's possible I could get a little bit more weight out of the pack just because I'm not planning on being gone longer than a couple of weeks. So another advantage of doing it in small sections. So so the total base weight should be about 12, under 13 pounds, I'll say, because I'm pretty sure I can get it under 13 pounds for the base weight. And then food and water, obviously. I'm hoping there's, I'll have to check the water sources in that section. I know there's a sort of some longer carries through a desert section. But if I can carry less water than I was carrying before, travel lighter, I can go farther. That's my main concern, because I was really struggling to get 10 or 12 miles out. And then some days I was doing 15 to 17, but it was, I was having to take a long break in the middle of the day, rest my feet. And then it was really a struggle to get those last few miles out. So I'm just trying to get the pack as light as possible to be easier on my joints. And hopefully I'll have fewer problems this time. But, so that's what we're looking at, and hopefully later in the week I'll know for sure, and hopefully I'll be back out on the trail again. All right, I'll see you guys next time.